Good evening, everyone. My name's Chris Cooper, known as the Channel Guy Trader, and I'm reporting to you live from Wall Street Trading's Miami office down in sunny South Florida. Today's date is Tuesday, January the 7th, 2014, and here is today's After the Bell market summary video brought to you by wallstreettrading.com. If you have not been to the website yet, go check it out. A lot of free informative information on technical analysis in our trading section of the blog. At the same time, if you're interested in taking our education course or joining our proprietary trading firm group, you can contact me at ccooper@wallstreettrading.com or via the website contact us button in the upper right hand side of the home page there. So let's go ahead and get into the video. A lot of interesting things to talk about today. The Dow Jones closed up 106 points. The Nasdaq closed up 39.5. S&P 500 closed up 11 points. We take a look at the breadth in the markets here. We had 4,471 issues advancing on the NYSE, Nasdaq, and the AMEX. We had 1,889 issues declining on the NYSE, Nasdaq, and the AMEX. All right, taking a look at the new highs and the new lows, we had 370 new highs on those same indices, and we had 23 new lows on those indices there. So breadth was in favor of the bulls today. And looking at the heat map here, I see a lot of green across the board, some decent action in the basic materials sector, especially in the independent oil and gas. I think that has to do with a lot of the cold weather hitting the United States across the board. So you have people looking to buy those natural gas stocks and energy stocks, as a lot of energy will be in demand as they can heat up those ovens and all the good stuff with natural gas and not the electric stuff. And of course to stay warm and all the good stuff. So that's a play right now. We're not sure how long is that going to last, but we'll see if those energy stocks hold those gains, these little short-term gains that they're getting from that, from that cold weather play catalyst there. Healthcare, J&J, Amgen up pretty nice. Healthcare plans, UNH, CI, some good action in the healthcare space. The banks were a little bit weak today. I'm not sure if there was a downgrade in that sector. I believe maybe it had to do with JPM and this little little headline that I'm hearing about them now. That of course they had a lot of stuff to do with the Madoff. That's nothing new, I don't believe, but maybe they're that's getting more headlines. So I don't know. I'm not really sure what's up with the banks. We'll take a look at that sector today, but I do know that they did get smacked down a little bit today. J.P. Morgan down 1%, Bank of America down 1%, BK, the Bank of New York down 1%, which is really nothing. Goldman Sachs hanged in there, so nothing wrong with that. Taking a look at the tech sector, Google was up 2%. Yahoo, nice day today, up 2.5%. EMC and BMW, WDC data storage stocks have been performing pretty well. We've been talking about this space. If you've been watching these videos, which of course you should, make sure you subscribe to these videos so you can get them here first. But if you've been watching the videos, we've been talking about the STX, the WDC, and those plays have been trending higher. Remember, STX had that nice little cup and handle pattern. We'll take a look at those stocks as well. So let's go ahead and jump into the charts, folks. Again, hope you guys had a great day today. And let's go ahead and get to it. The S&P 500 via the spiders, the SPY ETF closed up $1.12. Remember, we're still watching some key levels here. One main level that you have to watch if we pull back to will be here towards the 182 level. You can see at the moment we had a nice little move up from 3 weeks ago, hit a high of 184.69, and we pulled back. And yesterday's low could be a potential pivot point. You can see we had a nice little gap up today after closing on the dead lows yesterday. And now if we break over today's highs, I would not be surprised if we break over 184 and start making our way back up towards the highs. At the same time, if this is in fact a pivot low, one strategy that you guys could do to find some potential target levels as we go into a new area of discovery, since we have not been at these prices up here. If we were to break over 184.69, of course, you could use Fibonacci Extensions, which is a tool that a lot of traders use. All right, you take the pivot low that we have from right here on the 18th of December, take it to the high that we made right here, then take it back to that low that we have right here from yesterday. If that in fact is a pivot, if it's not, then we'll of course adjust it. But if it's a pivot and we start moving back up towards those highs and we break over those highs, well, then some potential targets you could work off of for the ABC move. 100% target will be up here towards the 190 level, and after we break past the 184.69, the next main level that a lot of traders, professional traders, and computer programs, a lot of algorithms that I know and that I've been taught about and stuff like that. A lot of traders that use the same strategy with extensions. A lot of them take off some profit, or at least try to cover, take off some of the gain on the trade at the 61.8% retracement. So even if we were to get to the 61.8% 0.8% retracement, that would be 186.62. The 38.2% retracement, which is another key Fibonacci level to watch, will take us back towards the high, and then we'll have to see if that's going to be like a double top if we come up there and pull back or something. But at the moment, I mean, everything's looking pretty good. I mean, Google's breaking out all-time highs. You know, we have some decent action. The bank's holding up. You know, healthcare is looking good. Energy stocks, which have been pretty weak, they got a nice little bounce today. So, you know, we're going to take a look at some charts and see if there's some sector rotation going on. But going forward, keep an eye on the 184.69 level. Keep an eye on yesterday's lows as a pivot. We break below yesterday's low, and then we break below the 28 moving averages right here. Then we could be a little bit vulnerable for a little bit, you know, of a correction down towards these 50-day moving average, or yeah, 50-day moving average around 179.37. Call it 180 area or so. But at the moment, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So we have to trade what we see. Taking a look at the ES, the S&P 500 futures, same thing here. You know, this one's holding up. The ES is holding up pretty well, of course. It's pretty similar to the spiders. For some of you guys that do not know that, you know, all you're looking at right here is the futures contract. When you're looking at the spiders, you're looking at the ETF version of the S&P 500. So for the ES, the futures part, you can see the same thing here. Nice up move, little pullback from the high that we made to close out the year, and now yesterday's low could be in fact a pivot low on top of this 20-day rising moving average. We'll have to see. If we take out today's highs, we'll be looking for a move back up towards 1840, then these 1846 halves. Same scenario. If this is in fact another pivot low for the ABC move, use your Fibonacci extension tool to get those upward targets in this new price discovery area. Of course, 18 half is going to be a key level to watch. You know, half numbers, full numbers, you know, would sometimes act as natural resistance numbers for those of you guys. Natural resistance and natural support for those of you guys out there that you know are not familiar with that. Taking a look at the triple Q, the Nasdaq 100 ETF up 80 cents, still remains in this nice little upward channel. See yesterday's low, same thing here. This could be a pivot. We'll have to wait and see. If we break below that 86 level, look for a move back down towards 85, which also is a decent support level that should mark on this chart, which I'm going to right now. That level looks pretty good as well. If we were to get down there, then if we were to break that level, if we have this nicer, we have a better level to look at. Sorry about that. I'm not sure if even nice. We have a better level to look at right here at 85. We break below 85. You know, 84.72 is a 50, then 83.50. And then if we break, if we hold the pivot low from yesterday and we break above today's highs, look for a move again towards 87.50 and that 88 level. IWM, the Russell 2000, shows some great relative strength today. You know, it actually held up pretty well. You can see it was 84%, one of the stronger indices out there. Actually, the Nasdaq was the strongest, then the Russell, then the Dow, then the S&P 500. But the Russell 2000 looks good. You know, we're watching this 116 level. We're also watching this key 50% trend line, because if we start just kind of trading sideways to slightly higher, slightly higher, and we don't get the momentum breakout, and we break below this 50, then we could come right back down. But if we could hold this 50 and trade sideways a little bit more to build out a better base, and then catch like a nice little compression move right here, we can have a nice little breakout in the coming weeks or so. So I do think we're I do think we're in a position right now in the markets where we trade a little bit sideways to build a higher base across the indices, and then look for a potential move up as the trend is still up. The monthly, the weekly, and the daily charts are still intact on these indices, trading above those fast lines. And you know, you want to just continue to buy the dip until it stops working. All right, taking a look at the Dow Jones real quick here, the DIA ETF. Same thing. This one's been building a nice little base around 164. So it's trading in a range between 164 and 165, half $1.50 range here. We'll keep an eye on this here. Everything still looks pretty much intact. It's holding that 8 EMA, 8 SMA right there around 164, 164, call it. What else? Want to take a look at the volatility index, the VIX. The VIX down 4.5% today. Gap down, was able to recover. Again, not really too worried about the VIX right now. The volatility is low. We are expecting volatility to pick up, you know, sometime maybe by the end of the first quarter, or as we go into this earnings season, and as more reports come out, we should be looking for some volatility to pick up there, especially if they're a little bit mixed, and we have we have a lot of companies that don't report that well on the top line. I believe they're going to be watching the revenue end on the earnings reports this quarter, as a lot of analysts and a lot of money managers are looking for these companies to perform on that higher end to show that they're actually growing their top line or actually growing in general, and not just fussing the numbers on that bottom line earnings per share number there. But anyway, keep an eye on the VIX. I mean, unless we break and hold below 12, I think that we're probably just going to trade sideways and chop around in the VIX between this 12 and 13 of 15, $14 area. All right, we did see a little bit of weakness in the dollar today. And again, you guys know how we do it here. We like to go over the full market here before we take a look at individual stocks. Give you guys a better perspective so you guys can know what we're talking about when we look at these individual names. But the dollar futures chart, it's trying to catch a nice little bid here. We do have a nice little downward channel, up move, downward channel play right here that broke out, pulled back in, didn't pull all the way back into the channel, but it broke out and we rallied right back up. So it did form like a nice little higher pivot low there, and we did form a higher high. So the dollar is in a short-term uptrend. Let's see if it has any more juice to maybe take it back up towards 81.60. And of course, the dollar's in an uptrend. The euro dollar, another currency that we track just to look to see how these assets move in relation to some of these currencies. And the euro dollar pulled off this little high, this little triple top action right here. 1 second. You got 1, 2, 3. Then we broke this little pivot low, so we have a high and a low. If we were to rally up and make a lower high, then break down and make another lower low, then this would be in a downtrend. We would expect that those that dollar would be moving higher, of course. Let's go and take a look at the bonds. The bonds, they were at that 102 level, a week or so ago. They actually hit a low of 101.17. I believe that was like a little flash here, but then they're popping right back up, and they're actually starting to trade above this little key trend line that we have from this little downward channel break. So I'm keeping a close eye on this because the bonds do catch a bid and the market does sell off. We can have maybe some people looking to take some profit in equities, buy some volatility and buy some bonds just to protect themselves if we were to get a short-term correction. But if the bonds break back below 102, we start holding below 102, the market catches a bid, and the dollar sells off a little bit. I do think that we'll see. Sorry, not the dollar, but the bonds move down a bit. We see those interest rates, of course, rise. That's something that I'm looking out for. Or if the bonds sell off and we see some money go back into some of these big, large cap and these decent companies, I would think that we're going to be looking for that leg higher. So I'm watching the bond market closely. I'm watching the whole interest rate action, and I'm also watching to see if these indices are going to hold these high bases. Let's go and take a look at the commodities real quick. Gold. All right, gold hanging in there. It's still holding above this key 1220 level. You can see we're back inside this little range that we had from all this price action right here. You can see we're trying to chomp our way right through this, but it's happening at a slow pace. Gold, if you're looking for the momentum trade, it's not in gold right now. Even if you're trading and of course gold has resistance at 1265, support short term is at 1220, and then at down here at around 1187, 1185, call it. But if you're looking at the gold miners, which I know a lot of traders that trade these gold miners, they're not a momentum trade. You can maybe start nibbling at some of them and holding them in your portfolio, but I wouldn't day trade them because they're not that clean of a day trade, and they're just trading sideways right now. There's really not anything to do with them, unless you like to trade stocks that are ranging, or unless you want to trade this ETF that's ranging. Right now, if you're looking for the momentum, you want to find what's trending, and take a quick look at silver. And we're going to take a look at some sectors that are trending right now that, of course, we probably noted to you guys before, but we're going to backtrack and look at them. And silver is doing nothing, and that's via looking at the SLV. I remember I showed you guys the downward channel that we had on the silver futures that I'm tracking pretty closely. You can see we're at the top of that channel. This nice little long-term channel. If we break above 2050 and hold, then I really think we could get a nice move in silver. But until then, I think silver's going to try to trade in this range. But the fact that we have some key trend lines and some key analysis to work off of is going to get us prepared so that when the real move comes, we'll have more confidence in it, and we'll be able to capitalize pretty nice on that. So keep your eye on these key trend lines that we're tracking with you guys. All right, let's take a quick look at copper. All right, since I did not do a weekend review video, we're just taking a quick look at everything. Copper, again, copper above 340 will be bullish to me in general, just because it'll be trading above its, say, 8-month range. And I would have to assume that if copper starts to trend higher, that would kind of signal there is some type of global growth going on. So that's another thing that we're watching on our end. And last but not least, the last commodity I want to take a look at here is is crude oil. All right, and crude oil, Got a nice little bounce today. Of course, it's been getting smacked down for the past 5 sessions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got a nice little bounce today. Not really seeing much there at all either. If you're looking at playing crude oil, I would say play the individual energy names and not the actual commodity itself, as this thing's not really, it's been a nice short. But if you're looking to buy it, you're not really confident yet. At the same time, if you're looking to short it, it's still kind of tricky getting short right here. So I'm in the camp of not even doing anything with crude oil, and just looking at the individual equity names, which we'll take a look at some of those here now as well. So let's go ahead and jump into some names. I already went ahead and looked at a lot of the markets here, so let's go and take a look at some individual names. I want to go through the banks first, just see how they held up today. Bank of America down 1%, hit a new high though, a new year high, up $16.79, and of course this is a new year. This is a new 1, 2, 3, new 3-year high in Bank of America, and again it's at that 78.6% Fibonacci from the ABC move. The 100% target is up here towards $17.25, folks. JP Morgan, one of the weaker banks out there, down 1.15%. Engulfing candle from previous day session, and it's broke and held kind of near the opening price of Friday. So we got to watch JP Morgan. JP Morgan looks like if it breaks below 58, could get some short-term selling pressure. At the same time, if it holds 58, this may be the new support level it's trying to build out before it tries to march its way higher. Goldman Sachs, beast mode, pulled back today, strong stock. All right, we highlighted this Goldman Sachs ever since it started trading above our 50% channel line. As of course you guys know, they do call me channel guy trader. I do track a lot of things in channels, and I do understand how to trade channels and how to trade them around 50% trend lines, which is what I show and teach, and what I do a lot in our chat room, mywallstreettv.com. So Goldman Sachs above the 50% trend line, bullish, but of course once it broke above this top of this trend line, the same way you could look at the same way you could look at it as a stock that's breaking out of a sideways range here, same thing. Goldman Sachs did break out. It pulled back and tested that trend line break the next 2 days, and ever since then it's been kind of grinding higher. A little bit of momentum here the past couple of days, but got smacked down today. Got to be careful with these banks. They have earnings coming out in about 2 weeks or so. So definitely got to watch out for those banks. Morgan Stanley, nice little move off the 50. Another stock that we highlighted here to you guys, saying that was holding a nice little support at the 50, and this thing's coming into a nice little compression pattern from these matching higher resistance levels and this nice little 50% trend line that's been holding up as support underneath here. A key stock to watch going into the next couple weeks is it's either going to break out and go towards the top of the channel up there, or it's either going to try to reverse down and we get some nice selling pressure. Definitely a stock that we can watch because we have some key trend lines and some key levels that we've been tracking it against and that we're going to be watching it against. Morgan Stanley. So what about the technology stocks? Google. All right, Google hitting a new all-time high today. All right, trading 1139. I believe they have a price target on that of 1300. IBM catching a nice bid. All right, a nice bounce off our key bottom. This of course was a supply area from before, and now we're holding the bottom lower range of that supply area around 185. So now it's some demand down there, and we're probably going to be looking at IBM to try to make its way back up towards these 195s. Technology stocks are strong, so maybe if there's people out there that think that IBM is a decent company, of course they're going to be buying this name since it's not at the top right of the screen. It's more or less at the bottom right of the screen, bouncing off of a double bottom play, and of course they're a solid company. So I mean, money will come into this stock, and they pay a decent dividend of 95 cents. So Microsoft, nice balance in Microsoft today. Little gap up, still an inside day, but is of course was up close to 1%. So I want to take note of it, and it is one of the top 10 holdings in the QQQ. So we want to look at that as well. Yahoo, nice move there. All right, made a new all-time high today by a little bit and then pulled right back. But keep an eye on Yahoo. They have earnings coming out in about 3 weeks or so. Well, actually on January 28th, so keep an eye on that name. One name that I'm watching that broke out today, VMW. Nice up move, sideways consolidation. Anytime you watch VMW, all right, you want to make sure that you look at EMC because I believe VMW owns a lot of shares of EMC. If not, it's the other way around. I forgot how it is. I believe it's the correct way that I said it. VMW owns, a percentage of EMC, and I usually watch them together. And EMC broke out of this nice up move, sideways consolidation, Bull flag, usually indicative of a move higher. Got a nice little breakout today. Definitely will be looking to buy some dips in this name or buy a pullback because most people looking to trade this name or swing trade this name, they're working to stop underneath yesterday's lows and they're going to try to hold this one at least for a move back up towards, I would say, the 2675 level in the next coming days, if not next couple of weeks. EMC. And EMC is a data storage stock. And that goes for me to lead into the STX, which we gave to you guys as a highlight trade once we identified this nice cup and handle pattern on it, which we noted on the My Wall Street TV Facebook page. If you're not following, I'm sorry, the Wall Street Trading Facebook page. If you're not following us there, go to Wall Street Trading on Facebook and like the page. A lot of our intraday analysis you can find there, and you can follow us on Facebook. I'm sorry, Twitter and Stock Twits at Wall Street Trade. WALLST trade. So STX making new all-time highs. Believe it or not, very strong stock. You can see it does have a nice little base it was working off of right here around 54.5 and this little range, and it broke out today. And I tried to break out yesterday, but it broke out today. They have earnings coming out in a few weeks here. It looks good. If you're looking at STX, you want to look at WDC, which is at the upper right-hand side of the page. Looks pretty good. And you can also take a look at NTAP, which has not broke out yet, but definitely could, as it has a nice little trend line break, up move, nice little range action right here. NTAP could warm up if these data storage stocks start moving higher. NTAP, STX, WDC. You could also take a look at SNDK, another another data storage stock that could get some action as well. Let's see what else, folks. Energy stocks. I like the way Chevron is looking. Chevron looks pretty good. All right, why? Because it was able to recover this little sell-off that it did. Up move, sideways consolidation. Remember, this one really started moving once ExxonMobil started catching a bid. But Chevron looks like it may want to go up here towards these highs of 127.83. The monthly, the weekly, and the daily chart does look pretty good. Let's go and take a look at ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil up $1.41 today. Yesterday's action could be a possible pivot low. You can see it's making these little low, high, higher pivot, low, higher pivot, high, higher pivot, low. We're going to be looking for that higher pivot high. If that happens to ExxonMobil, we believe that Chevron will start to follow as well. APC, DVN, a lot of these natural gas stocks were in play today again because I think because of the cold weather fiasco. APC, look for this one to go tomorrow if it breaks above this $80 level. Could make a move towards a gap fill around 83.44 in the coming days, if not weeks. Some action there. APA, again, looks pretty good there. OXY. So a lot of these energy names are bouncing off these little 200-day moving average pullbacks, and the ones that have already bounced off those pullbacks, they're starting to make a low, a high, a higher low, and a higher pivot high. So they're starting to start these little short-term uptrends. Keep an eye on Oxy for a move higher. May want to start making a run up towards that 98 level. And as long as it can hold above this little range of resistance that we had right here from before and above that 95, it can hold that bid at 95. We think this thing trades sideways to higher, folks. Keep an eye on this name here, Oxy. Again, we had some weakness in some of the basic material stocks. Monsanto, sold off the highs there. They have earnings and dividend payment, all that good stuff out tomorrow before the market opens. That's going to be pretty interesting to watch. If they report bad numbers, we have to take a look at Potash because Potash has been one of the weaker names in the group. CF has been one of the stronger names in the group, and you can see this one had a nice little bounce a couple weeks back here and has not been able to make another higher high. More or less been trading sideways in a range between 225 and 240, so a $15 range there. But and if they come out with good numbers, when CF is going to be a stock that's going to get bought up, I would assume it'll probably get a nice little day tomorrow. That Monsanto report's pretty good. Action VLO, a lot of traders in the room are talking about VLO. If you look at VLO, you see this thing's making new all-time, new 4-year highs, or I should say 5-year highs. Just take a look at this name. TSO, another name to look at when you're watching this one. This one, nice up move, sideways consolidation. If VLO really starts to want to run, I think TSO could get a nice little move up and a break outside this range. Keep an eye on TSO, folks. I'm actually going to put an alert myself if it breaks over that high. Amgen, J&J, Healthcare, they're buying them. This is still a strong group. They've just been kind of trading sideways, but Amgen looks good over 117. J&J, nice little breakout over this resistance right here at 93. Looks pretty good. What else? Some of the healthcare plan names. UNH breaking out. So we got a lot of stuff going on, folks. But anyway, have a great day, and I'll catch you guys bright and early in the chat room tomorrow. MyWallStreetTV.com. Channel Guy Traders signing out. Cheers.